Alright, this video is coming out a little bit later than I would have liked, but I need to get it out today because if I wait any longer, free agents are going to be getting signed left and right. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my rankings of the top 20 available free agents as of right now. I'm not counting Yasmani Grandal, I'm not counting Will Smith, both of those guys would have been in this list, but of course they are now signed to teams, so they're not going to be included. My criteria for ranking these free agents is simple. I'm just looking for the best players, how they are, was, and will be. I love these ranking videos because I get to hear what you guys have to say, so let me know your rankings down in the comments below. Let's have a conversation, let's talk. Remember to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as well as subscribe to the channel if you're new and you enjoy the content. Make sure you're following me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. Always talking baseball over there. And without further ado, let's get started on my ranking of the top 20 free agents of the MLB offseason. Getting our rankings starting off at number 20, we have the 2019 NLCS MVP, Howie Kendrick. Kendrick had one of the better seasons of his career in 2019, playing in a bit of a platoon situation in Washington at second base. In 334 at-bats last year, Howie Kendrick hit 17 homers, 23 doubles, and a triple to give him 62 RBIs, 344 batting average, 395 on base, 572 slugging, and a 966 OPS. Casually had an incredible season. He's not going to cost a lot. He's probably going to be pretty cheap. Kendrick gets us started at number 20. At number 19, we have a former Washington National teammate of Howie Kendrick's, Tanner Roark. Now, Tanner Roark is not going to be a player that is going to be an ace in your staff. He's going to be a 4-starter at absolute best, most likely a 5-starter for most teams. But for a contending team that can grab him for a fairly cheap price, he can make a huge impact, and is just very consistent. You know what you're getting from him. In 2019, he split time between the Reds and the Oakland A's to a 10-10 record with a 4.35 ERA, a 1.397 whip in 165 and a third innings pitched, struck out 158 batters, walked 51, and again, for a back-end starter, that's exactly what you're looking for. Coming in at number 18, we have the first reliever of today's video. That's going to be the Houston Astros reliever, Will Harris, or I shouldn't call him Houston Astros reliever because he's not on a team right now. But last year was the best year of his career in 2019, and in the past, he has shown us consistency as well, where he can be a very solid reliever. In 2019, he appeared in 68 games to a 4-1 record with a 1.5 ERA and a whip under 1 at .933. He struck out 62 batters in 60 innings pitched, only walked 14 and gave up 6 home runs, only 10 earned runs on the season. He doesn't have the nastiest stuff in the game, but he's a very solid relief pitcher and will be extremely valuable to any team that picks him up. The 17th best free agent available on the market right now in 2020 is going to be Daniel Hudson, another relief pitcher, probably the most valuable relief pitcher of the 2019 postseason because this guy single-handedly carried that Nationals bullpen. He was so incredibly good. He started off the year in Toronto, had a really nice start to the season, an ERA right around 3 in 45 appearances. He got traded to the Washington Nationals, and that's where he really stepped his game up. In his 24 games with the Nationals, he had a 3-0 record with a 1.44 ERA and a whip at .880 in 25 innings pitched. Nobody was scoring on this guy. And in the playoffs, of course, we know how well he pitched there for the Nationals. That's why he comes in at number 17. At number 16, we have another reliever, the final relief pitcher in this video. That's going to be Dellin Betances. Now, I will say Betances should be higher up on this list, but he is coming off a pretty significant injury that kept him to only 2/3 of an inning pitched in 2019. He has some of the nastiest stuff in baseball, there is no doubt in that. It's just, what's he going to look like after coming back from such a big injury, especially for a pitcher who has had problems with control before. In 8 seasons, he has a 2.36 ERA in just over 380 innings pitched with a whip at 1.043, a career K per 9 of 14.6, hits per 9 of 5.4, and a home runs per 9 of 0.6. The strikeouts are ridiculously high and the hits and home runs are very, very low. For Betances, it's always been about cutting down the walks, but if he can come back healthy with that same nasty stuff we saw with the Yankees, he's going to be a huge piece for a team that tries to sign him. Next up at number 15 on the list today is going to be Avisail Garcia from the Tampa Bay Rays. Non-tendered by the White Sox after a very disappointing 2018 season, in 2019 he came back and had a really nice year for the Tampa Bay Rays. In 125 games last year, he hit 20 homers, 25 doubles, and 2 triples to drive in 72 runs. He also stole 10 bases last year. He hit 282 with a 332 on base, 464 slugging, and a 796 OPS. A knock on Avisail Garcia is that he doesn't necessarily walk a lot, but the guy puts the ball in play quite a bit, gets a lot of hits. He's a solid player. For the 14th best player available this offseason, I'm going to go with Cole Hamels. In a free agent class that is dominated by top-tier pitching available on the market right now, Cole Hamels kind of slides down a bit, but that doesn't mean that he won't be a good pickup for whatever team goes after him. Since joining the Cubs in late 2018, he's dropped his ERA by a half a run. In 218 innings pitched with the Cubs, he had a 3.3 ERA with a 1.289 whip, striking out more batters, giving up less home runs. And again, while he may not be an ace, he'll fit in beautifully in the middle of a rotation. A team like the Phillies could really use this guy. At number 13, we move to the shortstop position to talk about Didi Gregorius. Didi only played in 82 games last year with the New York Yankees after coming off Tommy John surgery, and in those 82 games, he wasn't great. Now, while playing with the Yankees, Didi obviously had his breakout seasons. He was averaging 20 home runs a year, driving in 80 runs, slugging percentage approaching 500, OPS close to 800. He was having really good seasons along with playing good enough defense at short. Problem with Didi is I just don't know how how he plays outside of Yankee Stadium. He still was good enough to be a productive shortstop to start somewhere, but I think for a guy like Didi, he's worth a risk if you're a team that needs a shortstop. For the 12th best player of today's video, I want to talk about Yasiel Puig, who had such a big chance to get paid this offseason, but he didn't really play that great in 2019. In 149 games split between the Reds and the Indians last year, of course, he was involved in that Trevor Bauer trade. He hit 24 homers, 30 doubles, and 2 triples to give him 84 RBIs, stole 19 bases, which was a career high, 267 average, 327 on base, 458 slugging, and a 785 OPS. For a guy like Puig, you want to see that OPS above 800, but talent-wise, I think 12 is a good spot for him. Just missing out on the top 10, coming in at the 11th best player on the free agent market is going to be Mike Moustakas. The guy absolutely mashes at the plate, 35 homers, 30 doubles, slugging percentage at .516, but there's a lot of players that are currently doing that in Major League Baseball, so his value does get a little bit diminished because he's not that unique. He's not playing at a star level necessarily. Now, one thing that is nice is that he played second base last year with the Brewers, so he can add second base to his positions already of third and first, and he is a left-handed power bat, which is what a lot of teams might need. Mike Moustakas just misses out. Getting the top 10 started, number 10 is going to be Dallas Keuchel. Keuchel had a quiet season with Atlanta last year, didn't pitch great, didn't pitch poorly, and of course he got off to a late start because he wasn't signed until late in the season. But in his 19 starts with Atlanta, he pitched in 112 and 2/3 innings, 3.75 ERA, 8-8 record with a whip at 1.367. The whip was a little high, that's a bit concerning, but for a guy who didn't really have a full spring training to prepare, you could see why he might struggle. He just wasn't as sharp as he could have been, and I think if you sign him this offseason and give him a full spring training, he'll be back to Dallas Keuchel form. Keuchel would be a nice pickup for almost any team. At the number 9 spot, we have another left-handed starting pitcher on the market this year. It's going to be Hyun-Jin Ryu, who came off by far the best season of his career. Finally one where he was really healthy. Couldn't crack 30 plus starts this year, but in those 29 starts, let me tell you, he made it worth it. He had a league best ERA at 2.32, 14-5 record, a whip at 1.007, league high ERA plus at 179, pitched in 182 and 2/3 innings, which is the most he's done since 2013. He was finally looking like a healthy pitcher. He had a really nice season. The thing with Hyun-Jin Ryu is just that I don't know if he can be the number 1 guy in a staff, and of course you still have to be worried about the injury history with him. And he's another one of these guys who gets hurt because you have Garrett Cole, you have Steven Strasburg, you have Zach Wheeler on the market. It's hard to compete with those guys. Coming in at number 8, let's talk about the former St. Louis Cardinals outfielder Marcell Ozuna. Marcell Ozuna is someone that I was very high on in Miami back in 2017, and when the Cardinals got him in that trade, I was like, wow, this is a huge move. You're gonna see this guy explode. He's been a little bit lackluster since joining St. Louis, but that doesn't mean that he's not a good player. He's had some decent seasons. He had 263 with a 327 on base, 452 slugging, and a 779 OPS. Gave him an OPS of 107, which is above the average, but he just wasn't performing at that level that we saw with Miami in 2017, where he went, wow, this guy could be a top outfielder in the game. One thing that has hurt him in this ranking is that defensively he has gotten worse. He used to have a cannon of an arm, no longer has one. He just really didn't play a great left field the last couple seasons. So I still think he would be a really nice pickup, like Cincinnati Reds, Chicago White Sox, I'd go grab him. But he doesn't make it into that top 5 yet for me. He's a good bit away at number 8. For the 7th best player this offseason, I got Nicholas Castellanos, who's one of my favorite free agents on the market. I absolutely love the way this guy plays. I was big on him in 2018. In my trade deadline prediction video, I said the Cubs need to get this guy. They did, and he was a big part of their push towards the end. All he does is hit. Absolute beast at the plate. Defensively, pretty bad, but he has been getting better out in the outfield. He's like JD Martinez 2.0, basically. Last year, he split time between the Detroit Tigers and the Cubs. In 151 games total last season, he hit 27 homers, 58 doubles, 3 triples, to give him 73 RBIs on the season, 289 batting average with a 337 on base, 527 slugging, and 863 OPS. Get him out of Detroit. He's a much better player. Cubs need to sign him again. He's so good. Just missing out on our top 5. Coming in at number 6 is going to be the bringer of rain, Josh Donaldson. Even though he played with the Braves last year, I'm glad to see that he's back to his old form, because when he won the MVP with the Blue Jays back in 2015, he was so much fun to watch. The dude's electric. Hits big home runs, does the bat flips, has all the swag in the world, plays a great third base, and that's what we saw again in 2019 with the Braves. In 155 games last year, he had 37 homers, 33 doubles, 94 RBIs, 259 batting average with 379 on base, 521 slugging, and an OPS at 900. Combine that along with playing exceptional defense at third base, a defensive WAR of 1.7. Josh Donaldson looked like he was returning to his old form. He took the 1-year deal, he bet on himself, and he's going to get paid because of it. Which leads us to our top 5 now, and coming in at number 5 is going to be former New York Mets pitcher Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler's a funny pitcher for me because there's times where he's pitching great and I go, wow, this guy's going to be something special, and then there's games where it just seems like he's out of it, and he looks like a pitcher who's more of a 4 or 5 starter. 2018, he ended the season fantastic with the Mets, had a good year overall, and 2019, while his numbers weren't great, he still was pretty productive. 31 starts last year, 3.96 ERA, a whip at 1.259, a little high, struck out 195 batters, pitched in 195 innings, which was by far a career high. Inconsistent starts are what gave him a bit of of a high whip and high ERA, but he obviously has the stuff to be a top pitcher in the game. It's just a matter of what Zach Wheeler you're going to get on a given day. Now at the 4 spot, this is probably surprising people, but I'm going with Madison Bumgarner. I rate him higher than Wheeler because of how consistent he has been and how consistent I think he'll end up being. Madison Bumgarner knows how to pitch. The past 10 years, he's been one of the best pitchers in the game. The only reason you might have seen him fall off a little bit is because he has been pitching in San Francisco non-competitive baseball, but when he is actually healthy on the mound, he does pretty well, and he eats innings. Now last year, he had a problem with the long ball. He gave up 30 homers, which was by far a career high, but everyone was giving up home runs last year. Pitched in over 200 innings, 207.2 to be exact, struck out over 200 batters, made 34 starts, ERA at 3.9, whip at 1.127, so that whip was still very low. I think you get Madison Bumgarner back in a winning environment, back with a team that's actually competing. You're going to see him competing for Cy Youngs again, but all the guy cares about is winning. I'll take him on my team any day. As for the third best free agent on the market this year, it's going to be Steven Strasburg. You know exactly who the top 3 is going to be, and he fits in right at the 3 spot. Strasburg had a phenomenal 2019 season, coming off of 2018 where he only made 22 starts, but 2019 was really the first time in about 5 years we saw him be healthy for a full season. Pitched in 209 innings, which led the National League, 18-6 record, 3.32 ERA, whip at 1.038. He struck out 251 batters, only walked 56, gave up 24 homers, a hit per 9 of 6.9, nice. Finished 5th in the National League Cy Young voting, went off in the playoffs, won the World Series MVP. It's crazy to think at age 31 we're seeing him just hit his prime because this is a guy we've been hyped on for so long, but as long as Strasburg stays healthy, he's going to be good for a very long time with whatever team signs him. For the second best player available this offseason, I think it's fairly obvious. It's going to be Steven Strasburg's teammate, Anthony Rendon, who pretty much up until now I always like to say is the most underrated player in baseball, but he is finally getting the recognition he deserves after having 4 great seasons in a row with the Washington Nationals, 3 of which he had OPSs above 900, and last year he had an OPS above 1,000, finished 3rd in the MVP voting. If you're a kid and you like watching baseball, watch how this guy plays. That's exactly how you want to mimic your game after him. Last year was the best season of his career without a doubt. Like I said, finished 3rd in the MVP voting, 34 homers, 44 doubles, which is the National League best, 3 triples and 126 RBIs, best in Major League Baseball, 319 average, 412 on base, 598 slugging, 1010 OPS. Is there anything else I need to say to convince you that this guy's an absolute stud? Love me some Anthony Rendon. You're gonna get a stud player for a long time. Which leads me now to the #1 free agent of the 2020 offseason, Greg Bird. You guys almost forgot about him, right? The best first baseman in baseball? Nah, I'm kidding. It's gonna be Garrett Cole. That's obvious. Garrett Cole, what can't this guy do? Maybe win a World Series. 2018, traded to the Houston Astros, had his breakout season, a 2.8 ERA, a whip hovering around 1, finished 5th in the Cy Young, and then he got even better in 2019, a 2.50 ERA in 33 starts, 20-5 record, pitched in 212 innings, the most of his career, struck out 326 batters, which was by far the most in Major League Baseball, ERA plus at 185, FIP at 264, whip under 1 at .895, struck out 13.8 batters per 9 innings. He is a top 3 pitcher in the game, has to be the #1 free agent available this offseason. So those are my rankings for the top 20 free agents available in the 2020 offseason. I would love to know what you guys think about them down in the comment section below. You can give me your rankings or just tell me ones that you want to talk about specifically. Remember to leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it. That's the best way to support the channel, as well as subscribe. And if you do love baseball content, you know we're always uploading over here, so click that sub button, join the team. The month of December, I'm not missing a single day of uploads, so make sure, you know, keep an eye out. I'm gonna be grinding. But yeah, because I'm not gonna miss a day, I have to get back to another video. So we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. You know the drill. YouTube recommends you watch this video right here, as well as this is my most recent upload. So click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another one. Bye.